Because she's strong. She's strong, my Makes it makes it quite interesting.
It will be so fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in person. We're one also.
Oh, yeah. So long.
So.
Yeah. That'll be.
It's a lot to read.
Oh, it'll be a fly on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Why, thank you, sir. You're welcome. Well, good evening. How's everybody doing on this nice spring day? It feels like spring almost. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the East Porter County School Corporation Board of Directors business meeting of Monday, March the 9th, 2026. We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm excited to hear all about our first order of business here, the Student Spotlight, Washington Township Middle School, High School.
Mr. McScran, before we do that, and I apologize, this is uncharacteristic of us, but I would like the board to take into consideration changing the agenda tonight.
Okay.
There was a Department of Education information that came out on Friday after we had gotten everything, which changes the course offerings and different things that we can do at summer school.
Okay.
So I would just like the board to consider adding the summer school proposal at the end, not to vote on the summer school now, but just to recognize that we are going to change the agenda. And I do that before we open up to the other part in case there's public comment on me.
Okay.
Want to.
And we've been talking about the summer school 2026 under items from the superintendent, or would there?
No, it would be letter R.
Okay. Are there any objections to that change in the agenda? Seeing none, then we will hit the spotlight for Washington Township Middle
Sorry,
School.
Mr. Fields.
All right. Gave me a couple more moments to hopefully have my student arrive. We
I
just,
did see a little white car pull up.
Okay. He emailed and I reminded him 5:30 promptly. So he's at the end. So we'll go ahead and start with that. Good evening, board. Thank you very much for this opportunity tonight to spotlight some very cool things that our students have accomplished in the last year. Tonight specifically, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our AP offerings and our student performance. What you see on the board currently are our 11 AP courses that are offered at Washington Township and the various faculty and staff who are teaching those. In talking with a student today about this presentation, they wanted me to be very clear that it's because of these people that you'll see some of the later success that our students have had with AP programming. Hey, William. So again, those are the 11 AP courses that we currently offer at Washington Township and the different staff members that are teaching those courses. So this slide will show you a little bit of data about AP courses and the history here at Washington Township. In 2022, 36% of our student body were taking AP courses. In 2023, that increased to 50%, in 2024, 59%, and in 2025, 71% of our students are experiencing an AP course at some point in time during their high school career. We're very proud of those numbers, that they're growing. The other thing that you'll see on the chart on the right-hand side there is that our students are also reaping the benefits of taking those AP courses and scoring 3s or higher, which is giving them college credit. And again, at no expense to them, because the AP courses are free to our students, and then those credits carry over to college. And in some cases, it places them in a more advanced course, or it will simply allow them to quote unquote test out and take care of electives that they may otherwise have to take while they're in college. So it frees them up to take additional courses in their college pursuit. We can go on to the next one.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question? So the scoring system of the 3+, so it's on a score system of what?
Of 5 is a max. 5 is a max. 5 is essentially a perfect score. Very rare, but it does happen. It does happen. So what we're highlighting tonight and celebrating is that this last year, Washington Township High School was rated a gold rating on the AP College Board honor roll system. And so we're celebrating that because we were a bronze school last year. So we skipped right over silver and went straight to gold. Next screen will show why we received that gold rate. Actually, this is kind of a synopsis of the state. So in the state of Indiana in 2025, there were 13 total high schools that received a gold rating. 8 of those were public schools. Washington Township was the smallest student population of those 8 schools. 4 schools in Northwest Indiana received a gold rating. Of course, Washington Township, Valparaiso, Munster, and Drain. So again, it was a very elite group of schools to achieve that status. And as the student reminded me today, it was not only a credit to the students who have been taking the test, but also the teachers preparing them for that. This slide gives you a little bit of an understanding of how they make that determination and where our scores were in the 3 categories that were measured. The college culture is a measure of percent of students who took an AP exam during their high school career. So we were at 68%. In order to get into that gold rating, you had to have 65% of your students. And then, of course, if we want to get to platinum, it's not an Olympic medal, but it is a rating in College Board. We would have to get to 80% of our students taking an AP exam in their high school career. College credit, again, percent of students who scored a 3 or higher on the AP exams, we were right at platinum. We got 50% of, this is measuring the graduating class of 2025, which was an exceptional class to come through Washington Township. But 50% of the students in the class of 2025 that took an AP exam scored 3 or higher, therefore earning that advanced college credit. And then college optimization, that's one that is a very difficult measure because what it is looking at is the percent of students who took 5 or more AP exams during their high school career, and at least one of them had to have been taken during their freshman or sophomore year. So again, if you're thinking about AP exams, you're talking college level coursework, and you're trying to get kids to take those as freshmen and sophomore. And when you go back and you think about those courses that we're offering of AP Pre-Calc, AP Calculus, AP Statistics, AP Psychology, AP US History, AP US Government, Lang and Comp, Lit and Comp, AP Chemistry, AP Environmental Science, and AP 2D Art, those are again classes that you have to have the foundational courses your freshman and sophomore years, or if you're taking advanced coursework as an 8th grader, to be ready to take those as a freshman or sophomore. The next screen, again, just simply says in a different format where we scored in those 3 different categories. And because they were at least gold or above, that's why overall they were awarded an AP Gold Honor Roll medal. The next slide shows, again, what we have to do to attain the platinum status. When our staff received this information and we talked about it, this has become their goal. Is we were bronze a year ago, we moved to gold this last year, and they would very much like to get to the platinum rating. So again, we're talking about 80% of our class of 2026 to experience at least 1 AP course before graduating, 50% of that class earning a college credit by scoring a 3 or higher, and then the optimization of college credits moving up to 15%, meaning that they would have taken a class, an AP class in either their freshman or sophomore year, plus a total of 5 AP courses in their high school career.
Are we online if that's possible?
The freshman or sophomore one is probably going to keep us out of the platinum credit, but we should be having a fighting chance to get to the platinum rating in the second category to maintain that with the college optimism, or I'm sorry, the
Credits.
college credits, yeah, the 3 or higher. Yeah. Now we've come to our student spotlight. We have 2 students that, based on their performance on PSAT and SAT testing, and also their willingness to apply for this position through College Board, are big future ambassadors. And we have Addison Paris, she couldn't be here tonight because she's down at the State Student Conference or Student Council Conference, but we have Liam Powell, who's joining us. Congratulations, Liam. And Big Future is the College Board website that allows students to explore AP course offerings and get a better understanding of what they are, allows them to look at what their scores are on PSAT and SAT, excuse me, and allows them to prepare to raise those on a second testing opportunity. It also allows them to do career exploration. These are my interests. What does that fit with? I like working with my hands. I like working with people. I like working in a lab, and it opens up opportunities for that. And it also allows them to explore different colleges that specialize in those particular fields of study. And so it's my understanding, and Liam perhaps can add a few more details to that, but after taking PSAT last year, you would apply for this based on your performance. And then what he will now serve as well as Addison in our building, and you can move to that next screen, Mrs. Schnick, is that they're gonna help their class, excuse me, help their classmates with bigfuture.org tools and website by exploring career interests, discovering colleges, understanding financial aid options. And then again, because of their willingness and their success with that particular website, Big Future Ambassadors has hired them, but I believe it's a no compensation position, to be an ambassador with their classmates and fellow schoolmates at Washington Township to encourage them to use this website in order to help with their future planning. So we thank Liam for taking on that responsibility and going to share his knowledge with his classmates.
Any words of wisdom?
Not exactly. No. Any words, period? Being a big future and being a big future ambassador, I mostly just help people and helping them understand like what they want to do in their future.
Yeah, congratulations. That's quite the accomplishment.
Thank you.
We have an award here for you to recognize that.
And the two Washington members are here to see.
I wore my red and everything. So you stand, Liam. You know what? And let's stand in front of the board and we'll give you this. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
It says, recognizing your excellence as a Big Future Ambassador and your vital role in helping Washington Township students plan for their futures, presented this 9th day of March, 2026. So congratulations to you. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Good job.
So in summary, I'm biased because have the good fortune and privilege of being principal at Washington Township. We have great kids that are doing great things. They're taking advantage of the academic opportunities that we present to them. As that student reminded me today, we also have great teachers that are working hard each day, providing rigor and challenging curriculum that ultimately is going to benefit them and their parents with success. And it will defray some college expenses because of the opportunity to earn that 3 or higher on the AP exams and test out of classes, test over into higher areas. And again, we're privileged to have 2 students in our mix this year that will help their peers sort through the bigfuture.org website, do career exploration, college exploration, and then of course that financial aid component as well that tends to be confusing to students and parents making that next post-secondary choice.
Great.
So,
Great,
thank you.
Great
My
presentation.
comment to you, Chris, would be congratulations to you, first of all, as principal and to our teaching staff. I know that it's because of good teachers and it's because, and I would encourage you in this, as you're making your notebook, you know, there's a potential in the next 1 to 3 years that we have to do a referendum and we need to be able to prove to people why we're worth saving. And I would encourage you to keep writing a notebook of what things are that we've accomplished.
Well, we were just talking the other day that at one point in time, obviously, when Indiana DOE was awarding 4-star schools, schools would hang those banners out in front. We still have the anchor points there. And several of the teachers and I were sitting down the other day talking about our academic team successes, our gold rating in AP, and some of those other things to put some points of pride. And so we're working on a banner to advertise that out front to again catch the eye of passerbys and those guests to our school to let them know that we are proud of the different things that have accomplished.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you.
Good, good report. Positive way to start the meeting. Next on the agenda is public input on agenda items. I just want to summarize a few things. Now we really want to hear from the community as we are now beginning the public comment portion of the meeting. We welcome your comments and value your input. Please note that this is a school board meeting held in public, not a school board meeting held with the public. And this distinction means that while we welcome your input, we are here to conduct board business and not answer questions or interact in back and forth dialogue with the community. So just a few ground rules, and that is that each speaker is limited to 3 minutes with allotted for all comments. We don't have to worry about multiple speakers this evening, but any derogatory remarks or direct disrespect towards any board member, staff, teacher, or student will not be tolerated. In the event of such behavior, you will forfeit your time and may be asked to leave. Please be aware that personnel matters will not be addressed during this meeting, as discussion of specific employees are not appropriate in a public forum. And we do, looks like we have one individual signed up. Is it Chelsea?
Chelsea,
Chelsea?
Yeah.
And Mark Long?
Mark Work.
And go ahead. Chelsea.
All right, I'm Chelsea with Couts PTO, and I was just wanting some information on why you guys, I know not now, but maybe eventually, why you guys can pay for the IXL math portion, but you can't pay for the reading portion. And I was just hoping to eventually maybe get some information and bring it back to my PTO board members to clarify that.
Where are you from?
Couts.
House, okay.
Mhm.
Encourage you to have discussions.
And if you want to reach out to us tomorrow, Mrs. Schnick can help you out with that.
Okay,
All the answers.
okay, all right, thank you.
Good?
Yep.
We appreciate you being here, and certainly your comments are welcome. We're all in this together.
Mr. President, before we continue on with the meeting, I don't have my folder with things to sign. Oh, it's here. Okay. Thank you. Continue.
And thank you for the opportunity here to continue. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda consisting of items 2A, approval of the minutes executive session. Item 2B, approval of minutes business session, February the 9th, 2026, and the work session on February 23rd, 2026. Financial matters payroll. D, financial matters claims list. And item E, approval personnel report. So I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Okay, any discussion? Questions?
I'm just curious, under the resignations, under Mr. Schwartz at Couts, was there any reason given why he resigned?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And it's confidential?
It is not something that we should discuss here.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, again consisting of item 2A, approval of minutes executive session, item 2B, approval of minutes business session, February 9th, 2026, and work session of February 23rd, 2026. Item 2C, financial matters payroll. Item 2D, financial matters claims list. And item 2E, approval personnel report. Signify, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 5-0. Is there anyone here that has been approved under the personnel report? Any new associates here?
Yes, there is. I am happy to tell you that Nicole Truby goes by Nikki, is here this afternoon, and she is watching because, as you noticed, you didn't have the folder in the right spot. It took me over an hour and a half to put all of this stuff together. We are so excited that she has agreed to be the corporation assistant, and she will be starting right after spring break.
Welcome.
So we're excited to have her, and even though it's put me at a little bit of odds with Dr. Brooks over at Hebron, she is coming and she's going to trade in her hawk feathers to be in East Florida. So we're excited.
We're excited to have you here for sure. Next on the agenda, we have action items, a number of action items. And the first one is action item 3A, second reading and approval of policies 1310, 4200, 4320, and then eliminating policy 4323. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments?
Just for clarification, the reason that we are asking to eliminate 4323 is because it will now be encompassed into the attendance policy. So of 4320. So it's, yes, we may be eliminating, however, it's just being moved to that one so that it's all one clear policy.
Also, all these policies were discussed in a public work session on January the 26th, 2026. And at the business meeting on February, is that right? February the 9th, 2026. Any other?
I would just, have we voted?
No.
Okay.
We-
I
it's
would
discussion.
I would just point out that when we approve the electronic participation by board members, that just for your reference, Rick, to write down for yourself.
Yes.
Then all votes have to be roll call votes.
Okay.
That's a change in how we've done it.
Well, thank you for bringing that to the
For the
attention.
virtual,
Yeah. Not just for her though, for all of us, for
For everybody.
anybody.
and that's one of those things, and Jackie, maybe you can help me by raising the hands that qualifies or satisfies that or no?
Actually, when they're electronic, no, but they changed the
It has to
law,
be.
so you're gonna have to do
Yeah,
a roll
roll
call.
call.
So
Yep.
if they're local, if everybody is here, they can raise their hand.
Absolutely. If everybody's here, they could raise their hand, or they could just say yes, or I agree,
Correct.
but
If
a
it,
roll call.
we can do that. We're more than capable of doing that. We will do that. So any other discussion? Seeing none, then I'll call the question. All those in favor of policies 1310, 4200, 4320, eliminating policy 4323, but it will be included in a previously policy that is in place. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 5-0.
And I just wanted to ask one question. We've already voted on it, but the Wellness Advisory Committee, who is it?
On the committee.
Yeah.
So it's Dr. Case, myself, the nurse, we have students, we have teachers,
Is
we
it
have
a
parents.
revolving committee? Like students are revolving,
Mhm.
parents are revolving year to year, or are they on it for the duration? Because it says every 3 years it's to be.
Right, we have to evaluate the policy every 3 years. So we have met like 3 times since I've been here, the last 4 years. So it's not every year necessarily if you don't have a change.
Thank you, Bob.
And we do have to post it so that anybody who wants to
To be on it, can be.
can,
Yeah.
yes.
There's not a limited size to the committee at all.
All right, moving on. Next is action item 3B, approval of accepting ESG's response for qualification.
So in front of the board, we're asking you to consider 2 responses that we received for the advertise or for the responses to the advertisement for the RFQ. When we had scored them, the scores came out almost identical. There's only 1 point between the two. In evaluating, the references that we had come back from both companies were stellar. They were great. One company just seemed to be a little bit more comprehensive than the other one. Not that I don't think that the other one didn't have the ability to be more comprehensive, just in what we were given did not show that comprehensiveness as much. If the board chooses to accept RFQ from ESG, the next step would be to sit with them to talk about fees, you have the opportunity to negotiate those fees, to talk about what projects do you want to move forward and go. This is only to say this is the group that we're going to sit down and talk to and work with. There is no commitment of any monetary commitments or anything along those lines. It's just as we go through and looking at the timeline of trying to get some of that energy savings, especially if the board chooses to move forward with some solar. We are kind of on a time crunch, but at the same time, we have it for your consideration this evening.
I guess my question would be, have they given you an indication if they sit down with you, how long it will take them to create a recommendation?
Yes, so I can tell you ESG has been in all of the buildings
I can see that from
yes.
the really easy reading. If you're looking at me to see that, that's one of the two proposals. It was an hour and a half.
So depending on how much the board would like to expedite, they could have something in place by June, July, so that you get moving. One of the challenges that with the solar, there is an opportunity for some rebates. And at one time it was thought that we had to have a shovel in the ground by July. However, in doing some research, it's not necessary as long as we can get something started this year. But the longer we wait, I will tell you, the less likely it is to get those rebates back, and which will take the rate of return on the investment a little bit longer.
Just a curiosity, thank you, Dr. Case. When I looked at under the other one, under Verigy,
Yes.
where they did their cost analysis, and Rick, I don't remember how long ago it was, or maybe you do, Dr. Case, when we did energy savings performance contracting. How many years ago did we start that, and how many years were they good for? Because that was over a several year period that they were supposed to monitor, and
they still do.
And they still are. So,
Yes, they are.
These companies can attain that information, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, what's the word?
It's not
Proprietary.
No,
It's
as
not
a matter of fact,
proprietary.
we have to post it.
Okay, but one of the things that I noticed on this was that many of their cost savings were identical to the amount of the bond. Did you notice that in Verigy? I found that a little bit odd. I mean, in the first proposal, the one that you're proposing that we take, there's a difference, like
Correct.
a savings, and then over 10 years, it was a different savings. In this one, I don't know if the rest of the board noticed that, but there were a whole lot of them that whatever the bond was the amount of the savings, and that didn't make a lot of sense to me as a business person. So based on that, I felt more comfortable with that. There were actually more local schools that have taken Verigy, really close local schools, that have taken the other one. But based on that, I'm more than comfortable with your proposal.
And I will tell you, ESG has been more southern, and so I actually reached out to the different schools and some other people that have done projects in different with them in ESG. Verigy too had good references, but there wasn't anybody that gave me any pause or reason to hesitate utilizing ESG.
So at this time, I'm looking for a motion for approval of accepting ESG's response for qualification. So moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any other discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval of accepting ESG's response for qualifications, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is item C, approval of East Porter's 2006 Challenge Grant application to the RDC.
So in there, we're asking the board to approve our submission, so that we can send it to the RDC, to utilize their challenge grant dollars. As you can see, it's mostly for Chromebooks.
Do I hear a motion for approval of the East Porter's 2026 Challenge Grant application to the RDC?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Moore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of approval of East Porter's 2026 Challenge Grant application to the RDC, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is approval for the purchase of middle high school teacher Chromebooks.
So we're asking the board to approve the refreshing of our middle high teacher Chromebooks. I know Mrs. Bynum put out a survey to the teachers to get the ones that would be more conducive for their classrooms. And we're asking the board to approve it so that we can get those prices locked in and get them here so that they'll be ready to go for the fall.
Do I hear a motion for approval for the purchase of middle high school teacher Chromebooks?
So moved.
Moved by our computer expert, so to speak, Mrs. Starr. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments?
And this comes out of operations? No.
It'd be RDC, right? So not the teacher.
No,
Still
that's
teacher,
teacher.
sorry,
Teacher
teacher.
coming out of-
RDC, yes, operations.
And I'm missing my page that shows what's the total amount?
70,208.
Okay, all right, so it's the lower of the.
Yeah,
there's
the K-
three of them.
Oh,
There's
sorry,
three
K
of them,
through
right?
12 tech, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approval for the purchase of middle high school teacher Chromebooks, signify by raising your hand. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is E, approval to purchase new student Chromebooks for the incoming 5th grad year 2034, wow, and 9th grade grad year 2030.
So these are the Chromebooks that we were discussing for the challenge grant, so they would be paid from out of RDC.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the new student Chromebooks?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments?
And again, we're going with the K-12 tech quote, right? That's the one.
Any more questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval to purchase the new student Chromebooks for the incoming 5th graduation year 2034 and 9th grade grad year 2030 students, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is F, approval for Washington Township server update.
This is number 3. We've done Morgan and Couts, and it's Washington server time to upgrade, as we discussed at our last work session.
Do I hear a motion for approval for Washington Township server update?
So moved.
Whoa,
But, sorry,
Mrs. Starr,
she may be.
You want to,
Before age.
you want a second that?
I will.
Second by Mr. Martin. Any discussion, questions?
I did have a question on that one. So I saw that Beaker Tech was the fixed labor cost, but then I didn't see the labor cost for SHI and the CDW.
They don't provide labor.
Oh,
They're
okay.
just companies that sell products.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of approval for the Washington Township server update signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is G, approval migrating from Broadcom VMware to Microsoft Hyper-V.
So we're asking the board to approve the service of Lucatech to come in to switch the programming and the setup of our virtual servers. In doing this, Microsoft is a free platform where the VMware is getting to a point where the cost is prohibitive. So once we will have that, we will own the platform of, it comes with our Microsoft suite. So in the long run, it'll be a savings to the district.
I always like to hear that. Do I hear a motion for approval of migrating from Broadcom VMware to Microsoft Hyper-V? Hear a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any questions or comments?
And just for clarity, this is the $13,000 quote.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
So with that $13,000 quote, though, Mr. Martin, it's not just at Washington Township. They will be addressing all 3 of the different servers. So that as they put the new server in, it will have the new hyper, and then they've got to go back and reconfigure the other 2.
And that quote doesn't count that.
That quote takes care of all of it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of item G, approval migrating from broadband VMware to Microsoft Hyper-V, signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. Next is approval for 2026 Phase 3 camera upgrade.
So we have, well, being phase 3, we've been working on this for the last 3 years. This is the last phase of what we have budgeted for as we put into our plan. So therefore, we should be caught up. And we shouldn't have anything of significance moving forward unless we have something that fails and then we've got to replace. But this was part of that replacement plan that we put together 3 years ago.
And I had a question about it, but I think I have it clarified from Mrs. Diaz that this is coming out of the bond money, right?
Correct.
Not out of operations.
Correct.
Do
So
I
I
hear,
make a motion to approve.
okay. It's been moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Any questions, comments?
This is to go with the Pie Parker quote.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of item H, approval for 2026 Phase 3 camera upgrade, signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. The next,
Just,
Go ahead.
I think we're gonna move faster than I thought tonight, so I want to ask a question. So how often do we use the camera system?
There are people that use them daily.
Okay. All right.
I can speak from firsthand. Sometimes there's incidents that happen in a lunchroom that we need to confirm what student did it. I would usually do some research and I'll show my research to whatever principal and then they handle it from there.
Is it proving to be a deterrent, which I would hope it would be?
I feel for the bulk of people, yes, but some kids just,
Do they realize, would it be a good idea for us to inform student body that we have cameras that are seeing much.
I will point to them and be like, you can either tell me the truth or I'm gonna go look at
No,
that
no, I
camera.
understand
Yeah.
that.
So they know.
I'm saying that,
They do now.
Yeah.
middle school kids have a short attention span.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they do.
They also help us with the vape detectors that we have installed.
And entrance, and the secretary's watching the entrances.
Yep,
So,
all of our,
Because remember, what was it, 2 years ago, we put a monitor up that when the door opens, it pops up to the secretary so they can see who's coming in, which door.
So no more secret Santas, eh?
Okay, the next item is I, approval for migrating monitoring to emergency 24 through Tri Electronics.
All right, so this one's actually kind of been a sticky one for us. We currently, the way that it is set, different buildings have different setups, whether it's in the fire panel or on the burglar panel. And one of the difficulties that was set up too with, and this goes back to previous technology, people that would, there's a lot of this going. So H&G, we use emergency 24. However, they won't talk necessarily directly to us because they're under contract with the vendor and so we're trying to get everything simplified so that we can actually have conversations about our own buildings, about how do you set up the phone calls, who's eligible to get those phone calls. And so this is a transition to fix some of the issues that we've had in the fire panel and also try to consolidate so that we're only dealing with one vendor to stop the finger pointing so that we can have a better handle on our fire panels and our alarm systems. I know when it first came to me, the price I thought was a little salty, but it's in order for us to get everything on the same page.
And I must have mixed up that page. What is the total cost?
they have me separate out the monitoring. The monitoring is the yearly cost, and then the other cost is to fix the project cost.
The monitoring is almost double, right, or triple almost? Went from 1,080 to 2,760.
Part of it is because we're not being charged by the company because they're not necessarily under contract. And this is one of the reasons why we're having issues, because we're not under contract with them anymore. So to get them to respond to us, but yet the emergency company only talks to them. It's one of those webs that we are trying to clean up from a previous technician.
Is it the $20,000 quote?
The $20,000 to have the panels fixed. The $4,000 quote is to for the
Yearly
monitoring,
costs. The yearly.
the yearly
Yes.
monitoring costs.
So it's 4,000.
And some of that we're already paying, so that's why I tried to color code this page, because some of that we're already paying. They're already monitoring some of our fire panels already. But you have to pay for that monitoring. And so some of that is already a cost that the district is incurring. Some of that is work that had to be done to fix, it was at Washington Township High School to fix it. So that is a cost that we have to take on because we've already paid them to fix that issue. And then the rest is to get everyone else up to speed. So we can monitor all of our fire and burglar through one company and have conversations with them, because right now it's not, I'll say it's not possible.
Well, when it is finished,
Yes.
will all of it will go to both us and to a fire department somewhere?
It will go to us and then the vendor. So and this is how it works now with emergency
They
24.
call us.
Right,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, emergency 24 calls me at 3:00 in the morning when the wind blows the door open to let me know that the building is open. Or if the fire panel goes off, they call and they've got a list of, it goes to the maintenance person, the principal, Craig, And then I get.
Well, how did it used to be when it was before this, when a fire alarm went off and?
Same.
No, when I was trustee, it went to them.
So it doesn't go directly to the fire department?
It goes.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
The emergency services are still called, but 90% of what we get is a door is open. Well, a door's not really open. The door example is, Morgan Township's on
Right,
the highway, a truck goes by and it
Yeah,
shakes the door,
Shakes the
right?
door. Yeah.
So those are the calls that we get, but it still is calling emergency services, but
It still alerts the police department, it
Right.
still alerts the fire department, but
Correct.
they also alert us.
Okay.
yeah, and also faults, right? Like, system faults, right? So that's the other thing. We're supposed to get those alerts. And in some investigation, we found that we're not getting them as efficiently as we want because of the company that we're currently attached to our emergency 24. So we would like to attach that emergency 24 to a company with people that we trust and we work with and we know will get back to us and find us technicians that can actually fix this stuff and get us online and keep our building safe.
And so one of the challenges that we've had too is for some reason, and I will pick on Washington Township because that's the one where we have the most challenges currently, is if we've had moisture or rain, the phone line doesn't work. So therefore, we get a phone call from the monitoring company telling us that the line is not accurately reporting because they run tests every day, just to make sure that they've got signals coming in and out. And so one of the things that we've done is because you have to have a redundancy, but the redundancy didn't make sense to have two phone lines when the phone lines are wet and they're not going through. Frontier is actually going to discontinue servicing those phone lines. So we have a cellular and we have an IP address simply so that we can go through it. And this is just to help us clean that up. So Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, but this 20,000, we've already spent some of this. This is not 20,000 additional.
Yeah, no, and I tried to indicate on there, the Washington Township work is done. The Washington Township High School work is done because that was an everyday beeping in their office. That had to be
We had to
addressed.
get that taken care of.
The Washington Township teacher is nodding that it had to be addressed. So yeah, that was one.
That was designed to keep people on their toes.
Well, they were on their toes very much when they made it clear. So, but we tried to remedy that as quickly as possible once we identified the issue, because we would call Frontier and Frontier would say, nothing is wrong. The lines are working. What do you mean? I'm like, but they're not. It's beeping. And so and it will allow us to get, like Dr. Case said, to get rid of those lines that eventually Frontier has told us that they are, number one, doubling, and then eventually turning off. So it makes the beeping stop. It will, stop that cost. And Washington Township would be where we start with the work, to get the Washington Township work done first, because that is the building, the situation that needs the most addressed, the quickest, that's not even word, the quickest.
And as I'm recalling what I read, there weren't any of those put on the new edition? What wasn't put on the new edition? Is that true?
That's true.
So I'm wondering, is there a way to go back to, I have to believe that was in the,
I've got to go back and look at the contract.
because if we can save money by them paying for what should have been done
Correct.
in the first place. And when I read that, I thought, wait a minute, that hadn't been. So I appreciate it if we check that
Yeah,
out.
we will,
We thought
but
the
at the same time, remember when we put the new gym in, they didn't put in the sprinkler system either.
They paid for that though, didn't
They paid for portion of it. They paid for the fact that they had to redo it because they put it down the middle of the gym wall.
they? I remember that.
So,
Okay,
do I have a motion for approval for migrating monitoring to emergency 24 through Tri-Electronics?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any other discussion or questions?
and where are they centered? Where are they out of?
Over.
Over? And they're a long-term company?
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approval for migrating monitoring to emergency 24 through Tri-Electronics signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. Next item is J, approval of transfer of appropriation resolution 2026-4 education fund.
We do JKL together. They'll have the same thing, just different. One's education fund, one's operations fund, and one's debt service fund.
Well then, I'm looking for a motion to approve item J, approval transfer of appropriation resolution 2026-4 education fund. Item K, approval of transfer of appropriation resolution 2026-5 operations fund. And item L, approval of transfer of appropriations resolution 2026-6 debt service fund. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Okay, questions, comments?
I hate to begin asking questions again, but I will.
No.
I guess we're transferring into the common school debt.
Nope. All it is to close the books at the end of the year. Moving the appropriations from what I originally put in the budget to the account that we had to pay it on, right? So the fund is whole, the different funds, it's just moving it between accounts. So the debt, sometimes they make changes, every year they make changes in Dewey and things come up and they say, don't pay it out of this account, pay it out of this account instead. And so that's transfer we were doing it as a transfer from debt to education to pay back the education fund for what we didn't get paid for in the common school loan. But there's specific accounts that we should have been using instead of a transfer fund. So instead of using the 6,000 account, it's on a 2,000 account.
Yeah, 5,400. Yeah. That's fine.
Any other questions or comments? And I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving of transfer of appropriations resolution 2026-4 education fund. Item K, approval of transfer of appropriation resolution 2026-5 operations fund. And item L, approval of transfer of appropriations resolution 2026-6 debt service fund. Signify by raising your hand. And those J, K, and L pass 5-0. Okay, next is item M, approval of overnight field trips for Washington Township, Morgan Township, and Couts. We're taking that all as one because one is Natural Helpers for Couts, one is Camp Shakopsa for Washington Township, and the third one is girls basketball for Morgan Township. So I hear a motion for approval. Mrs. Starr? Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval of overnight field trips for Washington Township, Morgan Township, and Couts, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is N, approval Couts Middle School Hall flooring replacement.
So in our January work session, Mr. Kenworthy had presented some flooring options and the board asked us to go back and look at 2 doors to look at the walk-off carpet. But in the middle of that, there was also the recommendation for the Couts Middle School because the carpeting is aged and it's showing wear and it's time to replace it. Instead of putting additional carpeting in there, we are looking at putting an LVT, which is similar to what we've done in some of our other buildings. So we are asking the board to approve the changing out of the carpet to put an LVT, which will be a little bit more durable, easier to clean. You don't have to wax it. And so that's the proposal.
Is there a possibility of this coming out of bond? Yes.
That's where it would be coming out of this bond.
Do I hear
So moved.
moved by Mr. Martin? Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Okay, any questions, comments? We'll see them call the question. All those in favor of approval of Couts Middle School Hall flooring replacement signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is item O, approval of American Fidelity FSA forfeiture.
So this money is money that we received back from American Fidelity. It comes from people who put money in an FSA and then don't spend that money. And so they can't keep it and they give it back to us. We can't really keep it. And so there's specific things that we can do with it. One of those things is to pay it not to the person necessarily who put the money in originally, but to all plan participants for this year. So that is what we would like to do.
Do I hear a motion for approval of American Fidelity FSA forfeiture?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Starr. Is there a second?
One second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments? We'll see them. I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval of American Fidelity FSA forfeiture signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is P, approval of donations for Washington Township scoreboard.
So in front of the board, if you recall, we had talked earlier about the donation of the baseball and soccer scoreboard and the installation of them. So we are asking the board to approve those donations, and we will make sure that we get thank you notes out to them because it was extremely generous.
Do I hear a motion for approval of donations for Washington Township scoreboard? So, wow, I think Mrs. Terpstra was first. Mr. Martin, would you second?
Second, it's two separate donations.
It is.
Yeah, you've got one from the 531, and then the other one is,
They both say.
They say the same thing.
well, it's the NECA is additional. So, but yes, they are two different donations.
And will this cover the total cost of the scoreboard?
They are taking care of 100% of the cost of the scoreboard and the installation.
I think they're.
Is it like basketball that they gotta have a shot clock?
There's no shot clock on these yet.
Just trying to see if you're on your toes, Ken.
That one, I cannot wait to see what IHSA finally rules on that.
On the shot clock. Well, after the 17-12 Hanover Central Low game, did you see that?
Yeah.
There will be one coming.
So how about we stick to the approval?
So we're talking about scoreboard.
We can keep that. All right, we call the question. All those in favor of approval of donations for Washington Township scoreboard, please signify by raising your hand. That motion also passes 5-0. Item Q, approval of language arts book adoption.
So we're bringing elementary to you this evening. We'll bring middle high next meeting. And I want to quickly thank Jessica Nebel, Lori Thomas, Shannon Brown, Michaela Stevens, Gary Colley, Nitty Eichelberger, Marilyn Klunder for participating in that committee. They were very helpful in doing that. That committee has made a recommendation of Wonders reading series, which meets the criteria for the state of high quality curricular materials. It's on their advisory list, and it meets all needs for science of reading. I know Mrs. Moore came in and took a look at it as well. We had a parent come in and take a deep look at it as well and give feedback, so that we had that feedback from other members of the community, and it was available for whomever would like to look at it. So our recommendation is kind of the base price that they offered us. Our teachers really wanted decodable readers at the elementary level. K-2 was very important. So that is included in here for them as well.
And the amount is 266,000.
That is the total, yes.
For the next 6 years,
For the next 6 years, yep, until we cycle back around, yep.
Do I hear a motion for approval of language arts book adoption?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Moore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approval of language arts book adoption, signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. Next item is R, which was added to the agenda, and that is approval of summer school 2026.
So we are seeking also summer school for this summer. This memo that you received tonight, and it is on the public agenda as well now too, requests a certain list of courses that are approved. This information came out in a memo from the DOE. I think the approval list was approved in January, but they made a communication of it this week. There were some removals that we've seen in the past. They really have stuck with the core subjects of English, math, social studies, and sciences, with some PE that they've included in there. But there have been some key removals such as, health and wellness, foreign language, music have all come off of that list that we've done in the past. So we will use Indiana Online as our partner to provide this for our for our 9 to 12 students. And if you remember through board policy 5101, we outlined that would be a parent pay for those courses this year. So that will be that selection. Also on the backside of the memo, we talk about elementary. We just want to let you know that we will be offering elementary summer school per Indiana state law for students in grades 2 and 3, depending on Ivy 3 performance. And so that applies to students who in grade 2 are at risk and students in grade 3 who did not pass. We don't know our numbers yet. We're just now getting IREAD scores back in. So that number is kind of fluctuating, but we would like to also be posting for a teacher for those students. So we'll be moving forward just to start to gather teacher information so that once we have our student numbers, we can start to set that up as well. So that's Summer School 26.
Okay, go ahead.
One other thing that's on there, I forgot about the supervised agricultural experience. We do that as SAE each year. So that is also on there. If we have enough students, yes.
Move to approve the summer school curriculum.
Then moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of the summer school 2026, signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. Next, we have closing items. Is there any board member discussion?
I just wanted to compliment both Couts and Washington had 4 seniors on their teams. I know there were a lot of Couts parents planning on going to other games, so were we.
Right.
But Washington Township's varsity basketball team finished with a 19-6 record, and will graduate 4 seniors who contributed a great deal to that program and are really great kids. And I would say the same thing about Couts. I enjoyed rooting for Couts. I dislike the fact that they lost in the finals greatly, because I know a lot of people had plans beyond, right? But they finished 25-1.
Right.
And the only game they lose, they lose by 2 points.
Right.
So that's a pretty impressive record for both teams, Couts particularly. And they had great seniors also, kids that I've watched grow up, families that I know. I think both those teams represented us very well. And Morgan has a young team that's coming, but all three of our 4 teams were in the semifinals,
Right.
which was fine. Only sad that one of them didn't move on.
Well, thank you. I was there with you.
I know. And the other Spearman was my sidekick.
Yeah. Is anybody, anything else for board discussion? I just thought that presentation by Washington Township, that's remarkable. Most great things are occurring throughout our corporation. Anybody else?
But I want to commend Mr. Shields. I mean, he is doing a really good job. I have a granddaughter who's who's gonna be a natural helper next year,
Uh-huh.
who's very, very high in her class. And he just promotes a lot of really quality things like that,
Right.
that are good for kids.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons is because principals know their kids in these schools.
Couldn't agree with you more. Okay, Dr. Case, you have any additional items?
Just to piggyback on Mr. Martin's comments about the basketball, I just want to also commend the staff for stepping up because Friday night was interesting.
Kazoo.
And they performed well, because who would have anticipated having that much humidity and almost 80 degrees on the first part of March, and their ability to redirect and get things up. Even with Mr. Kenworthy coming in and addressing things right then and there and trying to get stuff up. And it was a community. Where else can you say, you know what, within a phone call, 15 minutes later, you've got fans coming in from the fire department.
Right.
Just to see everybody pulling together and working on that, it's a great testament. We talk about the generosity monetarily, I always read the donations, but just the fact that people were stepping in, hey, give me a towel, give me a dust mop, and they were going through, even though I know people weren't all that excited about having to move up to the upper levels. They did it. It was, considering it could have been so much worse, it ended up being okay. So I have a donation here for Mark Suga. He donated $800 worth of travel vouchers for teacher appreciation at Washington. And then Dave Good, $500 towards the Couts Athletics. It's just, again, just demonstrates the generosity and the awesome community that we live in. And that's all I have for the board this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Case. At this time, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Moved by Ms. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, the call to question. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by raising your hand. And that motion passes 5-0. Thank you, folks, for coming this evening. And you've had a lot to the board meeting. That is all. I bet you do.